Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well. Time for an update. It's the 5th of April 2020. Moving on to the rear arches. So what we've done so far is the main floor pan, which is from there to there. Next, looking at rear arches. Now finally some good news, much needed good news. They're in pretty much top condition basically. Bearing in mind that this is a 26-year-old car with 90,000 miles on the clock. It's just really good, to be honest. Everything's structured around here, and the turret, I mean, nothing's perfect. If you dig deep enough, you're going to find corrosion in there, but, you know, this is not supposed to be a show car at the end of the day. I think everything is fine to pretty much leave as it is. Everything is good. Down here, seals, a bit of cosmetic, but, you know, nothing that's actually worth spending time on. Nothing that's going to go sour in the next few years. Except for that, this is not the original arches. This is what I cut away a few years ago and welded up my own arches inside of the fiberglass. You see, after all that time, everything's perfect still, to be honest. Nothing structural has opened up and no corrosion has set in. Sorry, it's hard to film and do all this together. So that's pretty much good. I mean, I booked about 10 hours to these arches, and I'm not going to have to spend a single one, which is lovely. If you go kind of under here, it's kind of awkward zone. So that's where the end of my floor pan work finishes, and then you get this kind of area here. You can see we've got some corrosion starting in there around the chassis rails and whatnot. Nothing critical, nothing structural. Again, it's all cosmetic around here. So rather than try and do anything about that, what I'll do is I'll wait until we do a whole rear end renovation, which means taking all this gubbins off that you can see, all the gubbins, exhaust, drivetrain, axles, subframe, brakes, everything will come off, and we'll renovate all that independently off the car, and that will give us better access to this rear section of the car as well, and we can renovate that, and that will be probably another year. All this looks ugly as shit, but there's nothing actually wrong there. There's nothing unsafe there. One slight complaint is that those brake pipes here getting a little on their last legs, definitely, and I can replace them pretty easily. The main thing I'm worried about is junctions. So the brake pipes are off the car now, apart from at the very rear end here. I'm worried about trying to get that union apart with the steel brake, about a foot of steel brake pipe that's there. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. The thing is, those steel brake pipes that are there are still actually good. I don't really want to get rid of them. It's a real pain in the arse to get down there when the subframe's still on. So I might just leave these pretty much till they fail. Decisions still to be made. As they are, they're not really unsafe. They're not really going to rust through. The rubber seems okay. That's that. Now we'll have a quick look around the other side just to prove I'm not lying. And it's just going to be the same around here whenever it focuses in. Tiny bit of cosmetic, but you know, nothing to worry about. Welding, ugly as shit welding. It's the first welding I ever did, but you know what? It's strong. It keeps the two leaves of the chassis together well, which is where the strength of the chassis comes from. There's a monocoque car, obviously. It doesn't have a separate chassis. And so on. Same thing with the brakes. So because they're good, and just no point spending time on it. Like I said, it's not a show car. No one's going to really see under here. It's really just to keep it safe and structural. Two ways I can go. There are two bits of car that I can get to on this small scale renovation. I will do a large scale renovation at some time, but that means turning the whole car upside down, and that's not going to be this time around. That'll be another year. So this small scale renovation, there's two areas we need to tackle still in terms of corrosion. Don't worry about all this. No problem at all. Fuel tank needs to come off. Fuel tank is a critical item, safety item, and it is rusting through at the top. It needs to come off and he's renovating or replacing. And then the area of floor above it is going to be nasty as well, I've no doubt about it. That, I'll get that done. And then the other one, which I'll probably look at now, is going to be front arches. So what I'll do is take the front wheels off now and inspect the front arches. I have tackled them a few years ago, but probably not well enough. And then critical is the turret tops from the engine bay as well. Because It doesn't look like much. The thing we all learn with rust is if it looks a tiny bit bad, it's probably very bad. You can see the paint here. I just tried to see it a few years ago. All down there, it's rusted, and these are structural safety items. We need to open all this up, get the paint off, and have a look what's going in there, and obviously underneath the turrets as well. I'll start uncovering it. I'll report back shortly. Welcome back. Front arches not quite as good as the rears, but not too much work, luckily. Let me get my torch on. Good thing is we've got braided hoses in here already, which are pretty much going to see the car out probably, so we'll leave them there. Brake lines are pretty good. If you see areas like this, which are kind of a darker colour, that's because I've already had a go at rust treating them in the past because their panels have become rusty. And you can see the rust just starting to come back through again. The camera's going to go on there, just because I hadn't done it properly. So I've got to strip all these areas down, do it properly, get the angle grinder out, take the metal off. Do it properly. Small areas around here, nothing massive, and we're about all the way. So I strip down where the torch is, all the way along the sill, if you can see it, all the way along there, where the water collects and stuff like that. Get that done. Then I'll report back. The underside of the turrets look reassuringly pretty good actually. I've had a good look 360 around there. No obvious signs of corrosion coming through, which is nice. Obviously it's come through at the top, but at least it's a relatively good sign. So I'll get this all stripped down and report back. Okay, welcome back. Stripped up back to bare metal as we can. It wasn't that easy to get all the rust off because the shape's very difficult, so some stayed on. So we're going to apply a rust converter before we do anything. Various other patches in there that just needed doing. So let's put a lick of paint on it, a lick of rust converter on it, and then we'll look at the other side. Okay, first coat on, which is the rust converter. Done both sides now. Under that lip as well, which is really hard to get to, but it's nearly doing. Okay, other side. Under the lip again. That's it, and give it another coat and then put the top layer on. Okay, painting done. 4 coats on in total. Hopefully that should be the end of it. And I'm never going to have to worry about it again within reason. We'll see. You never know how it's going to go. That's that side. Okay, that's that. Next we're going to tackle top mounts up here. That'll be next week, thank you. Okay, valued viewers, it's another week. We're now tackling the turret tops, so these are the front arches at the top, notorious for rusting problems on the Nissan due to the double leaf design. Really stupid design, but that's where we go. So anything you see around here that's black is kind of rust agent I put on, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years ago, just to stop it kind of spreading. Has it worked? No idea, but we'll see. So we're going to take all this off, have a good look under there, see what's there, and hope for the best, really. I mean, I've seen cars that are worse, I've seen cars that are better. So let's mask up and report for action. Okay, welcome back. Good and bad, really. I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. There's no structural loss here. What we've got is a sheet of steel here that's structural per se, as in, you know, it's taking the load of the car onto the suspension and whatnot. We've got a sheet here that's not really structural, a sheet here that's not really structural, mainly decoration. And I mean, this is how the whole car is built. You've got several sheets and they overlap by about an inch, so you've got about an inch of overlap of this one on that one, you've got an inch of overlap of that one on that one, and they do spot welds is what keeps them structural. You may be able to see a spot weld there, for instance. That's what actually attaches them. But what they do is they put this cheap arse sealant between the two to stop water getting in, and unfortunately, because it's cheap arse sealant, because it's a cheap arse car, that sealant fails after probably 5-6 years, gets water in it, becomes contaminated, and actually rusts. I mean, this is what will eventually kill this and all of these types of Nissans in the end. It's these nasty sealant they use, where on the overlaps, and that rusts the car from within. It's annoying. There's nothing really you can do about it, because if you erase all this metal, the car just falls to pieces. But it's life. So on here, I mean, the good thing is the main structural tab here, that is in pretty good shape. I think the best thing we can do realistically is to erase the metal that's really been lifted up by the oxidization. You can see what happens is the sealant actually expands when it gets water and rust in it, and pushes the steel lip up and then just rusts it away. So we'll erase that, get rid of as much sealant as we can. And I mean, the ironic thing is, the car would have probably fared better if they hadn't used that sealant at all. Now, you can't build a car like that because you'd have little air gaps everywhere and the noise would be bad. But it is really an Achilles heel. So let's erase some metal there and see if we can get an action plan. Great view there. I've taken the kind of top layer of metal off. You can see the oxidized sealant there. It's gone completely solid like iron. Very odd. And that'll just keep rusting away. So let's get rid of that, as much of that kind of rusted sealant as we can now. And let's see, I mean, I don't dare take any more metal off, because at the end of the day this attaches the whole wing of the car to the turret, and there's only so much I can take off. Let's clean it up as best we can, and then probably treat it, and that's the best we're going to do realistically for now. So I thought it was a bit too good to be true, so I went digging a little deeper. And you see I've taken this V-section out of the leading edge of the turret there. I've cut these back up even further now, because it just keeps going and going. And what we're going to have is a whole band. You can see the overlap there, the top sheet, and where it finishes, where I've gone all the way through, you can see. And then obviously the lower sheet here, it's going to be completely oxidised all the way around where that join is. Unfortunately, that's just the same on all of the overlaps of the cars. This is particularly bad. Nothing I really do about it for the moment. And this is something that's going to need that whole turret. Probably my best bet. If you imagine the turret being a kind of almost a circle shape. See my hand and where the turret is. All the way around, there's going to be this kind of 1 inch band, and a bit more on this side here, where those two sheets have overlapped and water's got in, and it's completely gone. Structurally, it actually seems fine at the moment. I think that's got another few years in it before I have to worry about anything. What we'll have to do, and this will have to be a full restoration with all the engine out or something in a few years' time, is wherever we've got that overlap, we'll have to cut it completely, put new sheets on there, and without an overlap. It's the overlap that does this. It's just shitty car design. It's the cheapest way of putting a car together, basically. Very annoying. So, and just weld a sheet, just weld a strip all the way around, so there's no overlap. So that then becomes the same piece of metal as that one down there, all the way around the turret. And that's how I think we'll keep the turret together. The top sheet of the turret is I think it's about 2 mm thick, so it'll be absolutely fine. I've got no worries about that. It's always where that overlap is. I'll clean up here, and then we'll start just a cheap treat on this, just to get these obvious bits. But obviously the problem is systemic all the way around there, including all the way around the back and wherever water's got in, basically. And then we'll think about re-welding the whole turret up another year, basically. Like I said, that whole engine has to come out. I'm going to have to get the welder all the way around there, realistically. I'll report back in a second. Okay, so we've got some rust converter on, and we'll prime that. There's no point of painting it and making it look nice, because, like I said, eventually this whole turret has to be removed and re-welded. But that's a long-term project, so that hopefully will at least give us a few more years before we have to worry about anything more serious. Over here, different over here, very different. So this ridge here, where it meets the wing, isn't so bad. It's not. There will be, obviously, if opened up, it will be rust underside. It just hasn't blistered up like the other one. It's just not as bad yet, for whatever reason. Maybe just the way the car was parked over 26 years. Rest water got in here. We've got this side around here, which is the same. Weak point in the sealant, obviously. I guess the sealant was applied by machine, so they're probably all pretty much the same. Small little rust specks around here, so I might open that up to have a look. We've got under here, where we don't have on the other side, again, probably the way the car was parked or something. You can see little rust spots starting under here, so I'd better take the sealant off just to give it a check. Almost certainly just exactly the same thing. Water's dribbled down here, caught in the sealant, over 26 years, that's corrupted the sealant, and it's rusted through, so we'll have a look at that. Just temporary fix again for now. So back down here, we've got a little bit down there. various other bits, so I've got to work on that. Interestingly, I've had a good look around at various other places. All the areas on the wheel arch that we tackled, inside the wheel arch that we tackled, I could never figure out where they came from. It turns out they all come from up here, where the water splashed down. I won't show you, I can't go to any of this stuff because the engine's in at the moment, there's no point in tackling it at the moment. But all of those problems that we found down there, I found the root cause. They're actually up here, under various pots and stuff like that. So that's what's happened. So annoyingly, though, even though I've treated them and make them look nice under there, this problem's not actually going to be solved until I get in here and do all the engine bay work. That ain't going to happen for a few years until the engine comes out, until it has to happen basically. Because it's just how it is. It's a lot of work to do that. It's a pain in the butt. I'll report back when we've opened up this lot. Okay, that didn't work so good. So I bought 3 different types of green paint to try and match the original paint of the car. That didn't match. That didn't match. And no shit, that didn't match at all. So bollocks to it. I'm just going to do it black, and then that will do until I can do an engine strip down. Never mind. Okay, liquor paint on the arches. Looks a bit stupid obviously, but it's the best I can do until I can get to them properly, and that'll be when the engine comes out, hopefully in a few years. Right, that's all for now, and see you later.